Hello and welcome to David Galado's Book Dreamer. That's me. I'm David Galado. I'm a book dreamer. And that means that all my books come from my dreams. I'm the author of Crew of Ganges, Clockmaker, Favored Son, Sorcerer, and more. I tend to do science fiction and fantasy. That's my set of genres. Suppose some people call it speculative fiction because I like to mix and match. Uh, it's funny to me because that kind of thing where they're like, well, what genre are you? Let's pigeonhole you into a little box here. It is so reminiscent of my days in the galleries. I'm also an artist, and all of my book covers I do myself. I used an oil on canvas, so it's kind of a no-brainer to do my own book covers. But I used to be in the galleries, and this very much reminds me of the gallery world where one of the first things an art critic tries to do is pigeonhole you into a particular category. Whether you have figurative stuff in your work or not, determines whether you're part of the abstract movement or, whether you're part of some other movement, if you have anything in it that has any kind of branding, then, your pop art, op art, whatever you want. And, if there's, God's help you, a landscape in your work where you're a landscapist, it's all crazy. And it seems to me that they always had a hard time figuring out what kind of work I did because while it is kind of surreal, it's kind of more abstract than surreal. And while I do have abstract all throughout my work, I also put a lot of figurative items in there to jump up the human brain to start it looking for patterns. And that's what I used to do. I called it translucid, and that was based on something that Salvador Dali once said, where he said that surrealism had to become translucid, where the image on the painting played with the viewer's mind so that their symbols were there as much as the artist's own symbols. He felt that he was too old at the time that he said this to, try to, do such groundbreaking work and would leave it to future generations. I and a few others took that very much to heart, but the critics really didn't like being reminded about Dali. They, a lot of them hated him. People loved his work. I mean, Persistence of Memory with the melting clocks and, the hypercubic crucifixion. The critics really tried to downplay his contribution to surrealism. And yet when you say surreal, he's the first thing people think about because he really was. But anyway, I digress. The issue is that they keep trying to put people into a genre box, whether they belong in it or not. And they couldn't figure a lot of us out, so they just called us um, pluralists. Uh, there was visionary pluralists, which is what they called me, and um, there was another kind of pluralism, and basically all it meant was they didn't know. But rather than say, I don't know, this is new, so I'm really not sure what to call it, they're not going to ask the artist what they call their work. Oh, no, 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 because, they're supposed to be the all-knowing critic. And I am sure there's a lot of art critics out there who seeing this and hearing me say this right now will get really angry with me and they can go right ahead. I don't care. I don't care. With all the pain and suffering that they have caused to artists, musicians, authors throughout the last few decades, it's their karma to have a little pain because I'm calling them a bunch of fools, which they are. And so are the people who listen to them. The people who spend $100,000 for a piece of gum being smeared onto a canvas or worse. Yeah, those people. And yes, I openly say anyone who buys anything like that is an idiot who wants to destroy art. And any critic who thinks this is wonderfully ironic work is a absolutely uneducated pomp who knows nothing. There you go. I've actually said this publicly. Very willing to say this publicly. I've met too many of them. I've taken my art history courses in college. Thank you very much. And yes, I have been studying art for decades. So yeah, no, I have very little respect for most critics. There are a few who I think are a little more honest than others. Felix Caroli comes to mind, but most of them are ugh, just pompous fools who are trying to make money off of the super rich by saying whatever crazy theory is popular right now. And they would hate that. They would flinch at that. I'm sure the idea of them being popular, ooh, tough. You guys made this plate. Now you're eating it, you know. But in any case, they keep trying to pigeonhole people into something of their design, not understanding what it is they're looking at because it doesn't fit the things they've studied. This happens in the sciences too, where people don't understand the research because it's nothing like anything that they've researched before. And so they get scared. They get like, oh no, well, this can't be. It flies in the face of, oh, whatever, man. Why don't you look at what's new, do the math, figure it out. People get set in their ways. I'm trying not to be. So my books are kind of the same way. I'm, you know, not one genre. I don't even think Crew of Ganges, which in many ways is a classic science fiction, uh, it has a lot of other genres in it. You know, there's a lot of other things going on in that book, and I don't like just saying, well, it's just science fiction. No, it's more than that. And the same thing with Clockmaker, um, and all the others. So perhaps I don't really fit into a genre very much. And all this really very much leads into the topic of the day. I mean, it's already like 6 minutes into this video, and I'm just getting to the topic heading. And that topic is I don't really care what others think, quite honestly. And this is advice that I would give to any creator. If you are creating and you want to share your vision with the world, you can go right ahead. There's no guarantee you're going to make money off of that. There's no guarantee that it's going to be popular. There's no guarantee you'll be remembered for it. And there's no guarantee as to how others will react to it. And as long as you know those four things and accept them, you're okay. The minute you try to change one of those four things, you are in for a roller coaster ride of misery, destruction. Like, you have to be very it is you're trying to say as a musician, as a writer, as a poet. You have to be very well grounded in what it is that you are trying to do, what you're trying to say, and to be aware that there is going to be a lot of people, not like a handful, a lot of them are going to disagree with you. And that's okay, because there's also going to be a lot of people who do agree with you. There's going to be some people who love your work. There's going to be some people who can't stand your work or absolutely hate your work. That's okay. It's okay. You know, if your goal is making money, then I'd say go commercial. If you're an artist doing paintings, do advertising, do portraits, do things that are commercially viable. If you're, a writer, do a self-help book. Those sell like hotcakes for some reason. Or maybe a nice biography of someone famous, or become a ghostwriter. I mean, let's face it, most of those celebrities out there who have an autobiography, they didn't write those. They hired a ghostwriter to write those. Okay, write a column politics and news and mudslinging. Go for it. Have a good time with that. But that's where the money is. If you're a musician, do jingles for commercials. Be a musician for a pop star. It's you're not creating your own content, but you are using your talents to serve commerce, and that's where the money is. Okay, if you're not so much looking for the money, but you're looking to be able to express yourself openly in the world, well, then just do so. But the thing you're going to have to really come to grips with is caring that other people may not agree with you or may not like you or may even hate you because of what you have created. It happens all the time. It happens with movies, it happens with music, it happens with television shows, it happens with books, it happens with paintings. It happens all the time. And you have to be aware of that. And it's okay. Because if, let's say, three people come to you and say, wow, thank you for writing that book. Oh my goodness, it really changed how I saw this. Or, oh, thank you for painting that painting. It's so beautiful. And it really strikes me. You have actually made a real difference in someone else's life. Congratulations. Congratulations. Even if it's one other person, you have done something few people have been able to manage. And that is something that most people, not all, but most people in the commercial world can't do. Okay. They can have a lot of fans. One of the great commercial artists, Mike Whelan, or Frank Frazetta, did some great stuff. They did some really interesting stuff, but I'm not sure if they really touched the soul of the public. Not like Van Gogh, not like Monet, not like Dali. Um, so, if you're able to actually reach out and affect people in the manner in which you intend, well, then I consider you a master of your craft. If you can do so consistently, that's amazing. Okay. So you have to have a different set of goals than, am I pleasing others? You know, because with, 7 to 8 billion people on the planet, I mean, good heavens. One, you're shouting into the hurricane. Uh, and two, that's a lot of people to agree or disagree with you. And it's not going to be everybody. You know, I knew someone who couldn't stand Van Gogh's work. No matter how popular Van Gogh was, they're like, mm, they're allowed their opinion, and that's fine. This person wasn't an ignoramus. They just had a very different sense of taste in terms of color and form. Okay, that's cool. You know, there are people who love my books. There are people who don't love my books. Um, I've been tending to hear more from people who like them, which is nice. That's nice. It's nice every now and then to hear someone say, wow, that book was really great. I'm going to read it again. Or I'm going to recommend it to this person that I know. Or, I'm going to give it a 5-star review. Or that's fantastic. It makes a real difference, especially if you're not there looking for, to be a bestseller with your first book in the first month. Oh, please, 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 can we put aside the childish wants and desires for just a few minutes and look at reality? Okay. There's a million self-publishing authors out there. Okay. Um, it's amazing if you can reach 10 people. Now, I'm very fortunate and I've been able to get my books out to a lot of people. And I've been hearing back from them and it's been really good. I've built up a bit of a fan base. Well, that's fantastic. It means I'm doing the right thing in the right way at the right time. And understand this too, when it comes to the opinions of others, that will change in a couple of years. Their view of you will change. Your work may not be popular now, but in 10 years, it could be incredibly popular. Or it could be, oh my goodness, yeah, absolutely reviled, which actually sometimes really works. Ask Nietzsche. And then, there are times where generations later, an artist or an author is discovered because society has changed enough to find real value in their work that their own generation couldn't see. You don't know. You don't know what the long-term effect of your work is going to be. You have no idea. And that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility, if you have a talent, is to use that talent to the best you can. That's really your only responsibility. You got a talent, use it. In one way or another, use it. Whether it's to make money, make a living, or whether it's to do pure creation and, you know, with intentions other than to please people and to reach out to people and educate people. That's all well and good. If they dovetail together, fantastic. But don't you dare start caring that, oh no, the work is terrible, so I'd better change it. Or, the I don't like my work. What's wrong with me? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. In the long run, it does not matter. Just create. Don't worry about what people are saying to you. Don't worry about what people are doing or what people are thinking. You can't stop them. They've got their own opinions, whether you want them to or not, and they have the right to have those opinions, whether you like it or not. So just let it be. Let it be, let it go, keep making. Keep making. Don't worry about the people who hate your stuff. They're just going to. Okay? That's not your audience anyway. Please your audience. If you've got a group of people who like, oh, I love your stuff, keep doing it. Keep doing it because they will know more people who think like them and they will attract those people to your work. And this is why fads and fashions swing back and forth and go up and down and change over time. And it is something we do not control, nor should we try to. So that's my little blurb for today is don't worry about the opinions of others. So I'll be back next week. Hope to see you then. In the meantime, happy reading, everyone, and enjoy. Oh, please do subscribe right here and give me a little like. It really, really helps. And thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you. See you next week.